The year is 2016. I'm 1 year into my engineering job that I absolutely hate. I'm struggling to find motivation to get up at 6 a.m., drive 1 hour to work, spend 8 hours in a box, and drive 1 hour back. The work is meaningless, I don't have great support from my team, I'm really struggling to focus. Then something strange happens. I get a promotion. The overwhelming sense that I'm now deeper in the quicksand overtakes me. I flat out quit. Here's the thing, there's a right way to quit and there's a wrong way to quit. This is my story of the wrong way. I was a young kid that just finished a 4-year grueling engineering program and I was hungry to start making money to pay off debts and buy a car. When the first job offer came in for 100,000 Canadian dollars, it was tough to say no to. I was a little too horny for the money. First couple of months were actually somewhat enjoyable as my manager was super hands-on with me and helped me understand the ins and outs of the job. I wish I could say that school prepared me for this job, but that would be a lie. Understanding bureaucracy, office politics, work environment was something school taught me very little of. Understanding the technical side of my job was also relatively non-existent, as most engineering products are like a 4-year study of their own. My first transmission control module was almost 200 pages of what seemed to be like PhD level documentation. I mean, look at this shit. What the hell is this? Am I really supposed to know what the hell is going on here, or am I supposed to somehow figure out what the hell is going on here? However, my manager's confidence in me and his patience gave me hope that I would eventually be able to hold my own in this position. Then something rather unfortunate happened. My manager got moved into another department. Congrats to him, that's a promotion for him. And shortly after my supervisor left on maternity leave, also congratulations to her. But it left me with a feeling of, okay, but what about me? With little support now, I went from confident to being left on an island where I had to figure out how to make a boat with zero prior boat making experience.
I'm sorry.
Now I felt that I had a certain allowance for stupid questions per day with my team, and I had many stupid questions, trust me. My projects slowly started drifting away from me, and I felt like I had free time, but I shouldn't have free time, if that makes sense. Every day feels longer and longer with no escape in sight. Is this what engineering is like? Is this what my life is going to be like for close to 4 decades? This empty feeling forced me to start working on something I was passionate about. At the time, this was content creation, FIFA, and streaming. Within 6 months of this new side hobby that I was doing, I gained a little bit of a following and some decent views on a couple of my videos.
Bad idea. Please.
Don't buy EA products.
No, seriously, don't.
Have you tried FIFA this year?
What's the point?
And welcome to another episode of SBCs with Bob Ross. As my love for engineering continued to fade, my love for content creation continued to grow. I asked myself, well, why didn't I just study this in school instead? Or maybe this is just the honeymoon phase of this new thing. Maybe I actually don't really enjoy this just as much. At the 11-month mark, I started getting pulled into risk mitigation meetings, which was something I had very little understanding of. And for those of you that are not in this field, these meetings happen when an important task of yours starts falling behind an agreed schedule. Although this is fairly common in engineering, my young self was not aware of this. And with little guidance, how could I be? I start to panic as I'm supposed to prepare presentations for the higher ups as to why software-related tasks are now behind on my transmission control module. I start losing sleep over this. I'm pretty sure this is where my first gray hair started. And then the worst case scenario happens. My software support, also the real person responsible for these delays and the one that should be held accountable for them, says they can't make a meeting. This is a very common douche move in engineering. When you know you're about to get roasted, you either take a sick day, or you say you're double booked, or you take an extra long lunch, and miraculously you are not available for this meeting that obviously you don't want to be in. And then my supporting manager also says he's too busy to join, and this was actually not a douchebag move. He actually was busy. He was managing 3 different departments at the time, and most of his days he was double booked at every single hour. So what happens? Well, I get absolutely roasted by the higher ups, and maybe deservingly so, for not fully understanding why this software thing is not on time. In the following meeting, my manager comes and helps clear the air on things I wasn't able to, simply due to my lack of understanding of how these bureaucracy level things work. Crisis averted for the company. Crisis for Nelly hit its peak. For me, this was the last straw. I felt that my health was not worth this job. Funny enough, this was approaching the 1-year mark of me being a contract employee for this company. At a lot of bigger automotive companies, you getting promoted into a full-time employee for the company is based on time and not performance. So if anyone actually had looked at my performance, I probably wouldn't be up for this promotion, but since it's based on time and they need to give out a certain amount of these positions, I was just up for it. So this usually means that I get a lot of benefits that I didn't get as a contractor. It means I get paid holidays, benefits, cheap lease options, stock options, and other perks. This meant almost nothing to me at the time. Having paid off my car, my debt, and having some money to play with, while obviously still living with my parents, I told my parents, I just don't know what to do, but I can't do this. My parents gave me approval that I think every parent should give a child when they see them absolutely miserable and lost in life, and they let me make the decision that I thought was best for me. In the few months leading up to that moment, I was beyond miserable. I was super unhappy. I was constantly stressed. I was not sleeping well. I didn't know what to do. So with no other job, no backup plan, I just flat out quit. This moment of euphoria on the final day was unmatched. The feeling is nothing but pure relief. Imagine that feeling after a final exam times 1,000. So what happens next? Well, I started focusing on content. I was streaming daily, I was making videos daily, and I know you're getting excited, but this isn't really a Cinderella story about how I managed to make a living off content within 1 year of it. Most of actually this time, I was kind of also in a different way stressed and miserable. I was not sure what I wanted to do. I knew this thing that I was doing does not make enough money to justify how much time I'm putting in, and the reality quickly set in. I was beginning to stagnate with no real long-term plan. A year into unemployment, I had to find another job. This new job that I ended up finding was slightly lower paying, but it was much more enjoyable, and I loved the people I worked with. I would remain at this company for 2 years until the department disbanded, and to be honest, I'd probably still be working for them if this didn't happen. In fact, I still talk to some of the people I worked with almost half a decade later. So what are some of the takeaways that I want to point out if you plan on quitting your engineering job? Here's the number one thing. A job is a job. That's it. It's nothing more. Try another job to see if you like it more. Try to find a job where you enjoy the people you're working with and one that challenges you. Now, this can be very difficult to gauge, so make sure to ask a lot of questions in the interview to get more clarity. Who will I be reporting to? Who are the people that I'm going to be working most with? What do you guys like to do outside of work? How much creative freedom do I have on my tasks? I can make a separate video just on this if you guys are interested, so let me know. Number 2, even a bad plan is better than no plan. If you want to quit to travel the world for a bit, do it. If you want to quit to explore another career, do it. Make sure to set timelines, budgets, plan Bs, plan Cs, and so on. Plan as much as you possibly can. Financially, be able to commit to this plan. Planning is great, but without money for rent and food, it doesn't really matter. Money isn't everything, but it's also not nothing. Try quiet quitting until you have a plan. Quiet quitting meaning do exactly what is required of you and not a cent more until you figure out what your next step is. Take the free time you have at work and use it. Don't go out asking for a bunch of meaningless extra tasks. Take that free time and create a plan and a strategy how you can do something else that you might enjoy more. Free time is an extremely valuable resource, and maybe you don't see that now because you're young, but as you get older in life, you'll begin to appreciate it more and more. This is advice I wish I could have given my past self, so in a weird way, it's a little bit bittersweet, but I do hope that it brings you some value in your journey. More videos on quitting engineering, moving to Spain, remote work, the billion other hobbies that I do are to come. I have no idea what I'm doing with this channel, but I hope you guys enjoyed the videos nonetheless.